Rising, everyone. This is Digital Creative Success Masterclass, and I'm your host, Ron Smart. And today we're going to be talking about how you can 10x your content. Oh, we got some people joining in. Craig, what's up, Craig? Ronnie Cyrus. Hey, Ronnie, how are you? I'm going to ask everyone to stay muted while we go over the class. We'll give them a few more minutes to come on in. Just give me a thumbs up in the chat if you are able to hear me and if you can see me. It's content. Okay, thanks, Craig. It's content masterclass. Today is July the 4th. Happy Independence Day. So today we're going to be talking about content. I'm Brian Smart, and I am the dadpreneur, smart marketer, and I'm also the founder of Content Creation University and Passion to Profits. I'm also the founder of the Prime Agency, a marketing agency devoted to helping you make more of your content, build content systems to start and maintain profitable conversations and attract the 10x attention and create connections that turn into cash. So again, thanks for being a part of this digital creator masterclass. We're gonna give everyone a few more minutes to jump in, and then we're gonna get right into it. You're here today because you want to learn how to make your content perform better. You want to make more money. You want to live a better life. And you know, content is the way to do it. It's a great opportunity to make your dreams a reality. And everyone knows this, but most people go about it the wrong way. So today what we're going to do is learn the strategies and techniques that most people overlooked to help you get your content the results that you want. So let's get started. If you're just joining in, I'm Brian Smart. I've been a marketing strategist for 23 years and counting. And if you're in the Zoom call right now, you are here because you want to start attracting more followers, leads, and clients the right way today. So if you're ready to start, type start in the chat and let's get this thing going. All right. Ronnie is ready to start. Let's get started. So let's just go over a little bit of the backstory. I got started creating content about 11 years ago on LinkedIn, maybe about 12 years ago. And I quickly discovered that I needed a system because social media had evolved. And I've been doing this for 20 years and I've never lost a client. I built this system because I wanted to build my personal brand and I was tired of the rat race, right? I was tired of all of the false information. I was tired of all the fake gurus and I was tired of wasting money, right? But what this is not a get rich quick scheme, right? This is how you learn to make content that's sustainable and how you build conversations that that last and keep turning profit, right? So I'm going to teach you the exact steps that you need to get started creating content that gets attention, attracts qualified leads, and turns connections into cash. And it's perfect, right? If you're looking for, if you're looking to expand your brand, if you're a coach, if you're a consultant and you're transitioning from corporate to consulting, one-on-one consulting. It's great if you're a parentpreneur like me and you don't have the time to create the enormous amount of content that you need to not only thrive, but just survive in this new digital landscape. So we're going to teach you how to grow your business or your personal brand and expand your network using content. So again, for anyone that's just tuning in, hey, what's up, Ronnie? I see you're on there. Hey, if you're just tuning in, I'm Brian Smart. I've built UX content strategies for over 23 years. I started this marketing agency from scratch about 25 years ago. I hate video, I hate audio, and it's mainly because I'm the guy behind the curtain that puts together all of the devices that make this wonderful world of the internet work. Hey, what's up, Don? Thanks for joining us today. So we're gonna just get started talking about storytelling. Now, I know a lot of you probably don't think of yourself as a storyteller, but believe it or not, everything that we do is storytelling, right? When you're having a conversation with your friend and you're telling them a story about how you had a great lunch or how you did this amazing thing at work, that is a story, right? You got to take that concept, you got to take that perspective and use that when you're creating content for your audience. So I'm going to share my screen so you guys can keep up with everything that I'm about to share with you. So let's talk about the power of storytelling, right? So connecting with your audience on an emotional level is really key, right? Because everybody's got the same content. Everybody's talking about the exact same thing. Everybody is talking about, how you can use content. Everybody's got 15 tips to make content better. Everybody's got a story as to how they can help you explode your brand. But the most important thing about content that I've found over the years is to just be yourself, right? Is to take your stories and learn your audience and take those stories and make them relatable to your audience, right? You want to make your story memorable so that people remember you for your content and not just your content. Because if your content is the only thing that people have to associate your service or your brand with, then you're probably not going to be around that long, right? You need to have more of a personal stand in your content. You need to make your content about you. You need to infuse your content with you. You need to create a narrative around your brand. You need storytelling that helps you shape the narrative, right? And it has to communicate everything that your brand is, your mission, your vision, your goals, your successes, your failures. And all of this has to be done in a way that's memorable, compelling, and engaging. All right. If you're not able to do that, you're going to have a hard time using content, right? Because what your content is, it's a conversation, right? Your content is a conversation with an audience that doesn't have this live interaction that we're experiencing right now, right? So if you don't have that, and 24/7 is going to be impossible to provide that. So you've got to be able to use your content to be that 24/7 salesperson, that 24/7 advertisement, right? Storytelling, these live events, live video, right? All of that is imperative because now you've got AI, you've got Chat GPT, you've got Pictory, you've got all of these tools that anybody can use, and a large portion of these tools are free. So if they're free and anybody can do it, what that means is now you've got more competition. But the beautiful thing about the landscape and how it's changing is that most of the people that are doing this are copycats, and they're not comfortable giving a part of themselves, right? They're in it for a quick fix, they're in it for a quick buck. So for the people that are looking to make this more than just about making money, there's an opportunity. There's an opportunity to outshine your competition using video, using live events, and the power of storytelling, right? So let's talk about, I'm going to change my screen right quick because we're going to talk about how you can use ChatGPT, your stories, and something I'm going to share with you later called the digital content generator to transform all of your ideas into an unlimited amount of content in a very small time. So I'm going to share with you my 7x7 method for creating content. And it's really simple. It's not a big deal. Anybody can do it. And you probably saying, anybody, if anybody could do it, anybody would be doing it right now, right? But anybody is doing it. I'm doing it. You're going to start doing it. And as soon as I open up this file, you're going to see just how easy it is to do it. Give me 2 seconds. Here we go. And I'm going to share that screen once more. So what I like to do when I'm making my content, I start with a big pillar, right? I call it a big pillar distribution system. I make one big piece of content. In this instance, we'll use an ebook, right? So I take an ebook and I take pieces of that ebook and then I combine it with ChatGPT, and I can come up with 50 pieces of content in 15 minutes, right? So let's take this prompt from an ebook I wrote a few years ago, right? And let's open up ChatGPT. So I'm not going to go through all of it, and I'll make all of this available after the training so that you guys will have it and you can download and you can use it. All right. 2 shapes. All right, so let's start a new chat, okay? And let's start with the prompt I just showed you. So let's go over why it says, "Hey Onyx." So I named my AI so that it will become familiar with my tone, it become familiar with my style of writing, it become familiar with my responses. So I started with, "Hey Onyx, please help me write a 10-chapter book, road to 5K followers on LinkedIn." And then I give the breakdown for the outline that I created, right? So whenever you're creating prompts in ChatGPT, it's really important not to use generic prompts. It's really important that you make your own prompts. It's really important that you be as descriptive and as personalized, if I can get it out, as personalized as you can, so that when you're getting the responses from ChatGPT, they're unique and they speak to your audience. Right? So let's hit enter and let's see what we get back. Sometimes it takes a little while. I don't know if anyone on here is using ChatGPT, but depending on the server load, the responses sometimes take a little while. I've got this in an older text that we did in another class. If it takes too long to load, I'll go back to that one, but you can see it's working, right? It's a little slow today. Maybe everybody's on, who knows? But the point here is that you can see AI is actually giving us an overview of what we'll include in this book, right? Each chapter, in each chapter of this book, right? So it's just giving us an overview of each chapter. But in each chapter, you can take out a piece of content and you can turn it into another piece of content, right? So here's an example. We'll let that work in the background. So from the ebook, let's talk about prompt stacking, why this is working, right? So from the ebook, it's going to give us 10 chapters. And each one of these chapters, you need an engaging introduction. Let's say you need an engaging introduction. These chapters are going to be pretty generic because I didn't use a lot of descriptive connotations because this is an ebook and it's not a book. It's not a physical book. So since I'm breaking it down, let's look at the next prompt. This is prompt stacking, right? So Onyx, I also need a captivating intro for each chapter, about each chapter, and an experience that I can share from a parentpreneur journey, right? And a personal branding journey. Right. And as she does what she does, we'll give it a second. Almost finished. Technology. Okay. So we're having a little trouble with ChatGPT this morning. No big deal. We'll go back to the prompts and we'll continue to talk about the prompt stacking, right? So let's imagine that she's given us the 10 introductions, right? And we can then revamp each one of those introductions to not include the things that we don't want. See, this is another example of prompt stacking, right? Then you can say, well, hey, I'd like a newsletter, right? And here's the 7x7 rule. The 7x7 rule is taking 7 different posting structures and 7 different discussion topics and creating 50 posts out of thin air, right? So let's say we have anytime she throws me off sometimes, and it's so bad because I had this whole plan set in my mind, then I have to go back and redo all of it. But it's cool, no big deal. We'll get through it. Right. So let's say you've got seven post instructions. These will be your 7 post instructions. I'm going to enlarge the screen. If I can enlarge the screen. Right? If you can see it, throw a thumbs up in the audience. Right? So we're going to enlarge the screen and you can see 7 different posting structures, right? A listicle, motivation, comparison, opinion, contrarian, present versus future, actionable, observation. These are content structures that I use to make social updates or LinkedIn posts, Facebook posts, Instagram posts, Twitter posts. You can create your own. You know, these are just the ones that I use and I found to work the best. Then you come back and you take those 7 posting structures and you include 7 different discussion topics. So 4 of these discussion topics would be automation, digital products, branding, copywriting, right? So you can do a listicle about automation, right? And you can include that with ChatGPT, right? So let's do an example of 7 LinkedIn posts about automation, right? Here we go. 7 LinkedIn posts about content automation. These are just titles, right? So once you have the titles, then you can come back and flesh out the content. Right. It's not, I see Ronnie nodding the head. It's like, light bulb moment, right? Because how are you going to get from A to B, right, that quickly? Start with the titles and then filter down, right? So if you've got 7 titles for content marketing automation, then you can take one of these titles and ask Onyx to create a post, one LinkedIn post one LinkedIn, let's call it a contrarian post. Streamline your content marketing with automation. Now, again, this is just for an example. I would never put what I just input into ChatGPT and take that information and post it. This is just an example. Either I would do a lot more work before creating my prompt, or I would do a lot more work after the response is given to make the content what I needed to be for my audience. So streamlining your content marketing with automation. Are you tired of spending countless hours creating content? See, now this is really key. The reason it's asking my audience, are they spending tired of spending countless hours creating content and distribution without seeing results? The reason it gave me that response is because it's basing its answer off of content that we've created together before. Right. So the more you go in and create content using ChatGPT and different AI tools, the more your responses will be geared toward your personality, your writing style, and your audience. Say goodbye to manual hassles. Hello to efficiency and success. Boost efficiency, maximize results, stay ahead of the curve, join the content marketing revolution. There's your CTA. This took like what, 2 seconds to make, right? So you can imagine, right, what I'm saying when I say a 7x7. So I can take this same concept and do the exact same thing for the next title. And we can do it for, let's say we're going to do it this time for present versus future, right? So we can see just how powerful and diverse ChatGPT really is. LinkedIn, let's do a listicle. Present versus future, sometimes they're hard to decipher, but let's do a list. Are you ready to streamline your content marketing to extraordinary heights? Embrace the game-changing potential of automation and experience unparalleled growth with these proven strategies. And here are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you've never used ChatGPT before, I encourage you to open up an account today, right? And start familiarizing yourself with these technologies, because as more and more people start to realize the potential of ChatGPT and AI, it's going to be more and more difficult to get on these platforms and to use them. So the earlier you can start, the better, right? When ChatGPT first launched back in November, nobody was really aware of it. 3 months after that, they had to put a hold on new accounts because so many people were using it, right? So nobody was allowed to sign up for like a month or so. So if you have the opportunity, go ahead and jump on now. So I'm gonna take a quick break. I'm gonna jump in the chat, answer a few questions, and I'll give everyone a few seconds to look over that, and then we'll jump back in. And we'll jump back in 2 minutes, and we'll be discussing planning and organizing your distribution with the digital content generator. Okay, so here goes a couple of good questions. This is from Don. I use ChatGPT and sometimes it's a little slow. That's because it's a free service. If you want to speed up your content, they've got a upgrade that you can purchase for 20 bucks a month. But honestly, you're still limited, right? It gives you top priority, but if there's still a server load, if there's still a huge weight on usage, then you still get bumped to the, you still get bumped to the back. It's still going to be a little slow. Next question. How do you name your ChatGPT example? You've named yours Onyx. So the way I named ChatGPT, I just went into a prompt and I told ChatGPT, hey, in order for us to keep our conversation going, in order for us to build up better conversations, in order for us to get to know one another better, in order for you to build my style, I'm going to give you a name. I'm going to name you Onyx. Now, the next time that you go in, I say she, right? This is how comfortable I've become, right? She may not give you that same response. Like, so if you say, hey, Onyx, good morning, such and such, such and such, she may tell you the first couple of times, well, I'm just an AI. I don't have a name. I don't have feelings. And that's okay. She's testing you, right? So just go back in the next day and keep saying it. Repetition is the key to everything. I'll give you a really good example. Every day, my daughter gets up at 6 o'clock, right? She's up at 6, I'm up at 6. Because of that repetition, if she's late getting up or if she goes to bed early, she's gonna say, Dad, are we still getting up at 6? Because there's a repetition set up. The same thing goes for AI, right? Repetition is key. This masterclass that we're doing today, this is not the first time I've done this. This is probably the third or fourth of this exact same class. But for people that haven't seen it yet, this is great. I know, Ronnie, I think this is your first time in, right? So, right. So this is helpful for the people that haven't seen it. And I don't know about everyone, but for me, the more I hear something, the more I'm able to remember it, right? So we'll keep going until it sinks in. So let's jump back to the content generator. Let's talk about how you can use the content generator to distribute your content, right? So we've got a couple of more minutes and then we'll start to answer questions. So the way I set up my content distribution, it's by platform, 2, it's by daily purpose. Like, what is my objective for the day? Like, if I was reading this content, like, what would I be expecting to feel? What do I want my audience to feel when they read this content? So, and you probably can't see all of it here, but Mondays are motivational days, right? So all of my content on Monday on LinkedIn is going to be about motivating. And it's typically what I do on Mondays, regardless of the platform. If it's Twitter, if it's LinkedIn, if it's Facebook, Mondays are typically the days that I go through and I try to keep everybody uplifted, including myself, right? Because it's the start of a new week. You've got all of these tasks, you've got all of this stuff to do. You had a bad last week, the weekend was a bummer. You just need something to lift you up. So the best way I've managed to keep my content on par throughout the last, 3 years across 4 or 5 different platforms is by knowing the objective for each day. So some people will say, well, post this kind of content, or post at this time, or post for this particular audience. What I say, you should already know your audience before you start creating content. The best way to know what you're creating and the best way to keep it on par is to know why you're creating the content. So if Monday's motivation, then every Monday you're going to post some motivation. It doesn't have to be a meme. It doesn't have to be a video. It doesn't have to be an image. It's just got to be motivational. Tuesdays are learning days, right? So every Tuesday, post something educational. Wednesdays are, I believe, entertainment. So post something fun. Post a story about your life. Post a story about your experience at work. If you have that latitude to be able to leverage your personal brand at your job. A lot of jobs don't want their employees posting on social media, which is the dumbest thing ever. Because if you're posting on social media and people know that you work for the company, as long as you're saying something positive, as long as you're saying something uplifting, then people will start to navigate. They'll start to navigate towards that brand, right? They'll naturally be drawn towards it. But again, you got to take that with a grain of salt, because everybody doesn't post positive. Everything that I talk about is positive. I never talk negative. I never talk about what we're not going to do. I only talk about what we want to happen, right? So if anybody out there wants to hire content creators, make sure those content creators are talking positive, right? And then you don't have to worry about what they're saying online. So I break this system down. I break mine down into weeks. I break it down into weeks based on topics. So week 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, that's a full month of ideation. All I talked about in November was content ideation, right? How you can make content, how you can come up with ideas, how you can repurpose your content, how you can grow your brand without investing in better content, right? Because you've got so much content already, right? You got so many ideas just waiting to get out. You just need to talk about that one topic, right? So don't overthink it and start creating a different topic every week, every day. Stay on topic, but use these structures, use these discussion topics to keep it fresh. Use these objectives for your content to keep it fresh. Those 3 things, you'll never run out of ideas. And even if you use the same ideas over and over, they'll always seem like new ideas. I know this is a lot, right? But just bear with me. Keep your questions. Let's put the questions in the Q&A. If you've got any questions, we'll answer them in a few minutes, and we'll get some people up, and we'll start talking. So there's one more thing that I wanted to go over before we open the floor, and that's my extreme distribution plan. So 50 posts probably doesn't sound like a lot with all of the people that are posting now. So you're saying, oh, 50 posts, that's not a whole lot. I can do that. And, I'll have 50 posts in no time. And then I'll be out of all of my content. I got to start over again. So here's a way that you can not feel so overwhelmed with having to start fresh every single time. After you create all of this content using ChatGPT, think about repurposing that content. Think about that one post we just made, right? That was a pretty big post, right? Pretty long post. I think it was like 300 words. You can take that post and you can turn it into a Twitter thread, right? So let's take an example. Let's go back into ChatGPT and let's ask ChatGPT to make that post into a Twitter thread. Really simplifying it. Like back in the day, it would have taken me 2 days to create this much content, right? And now you can do it in like no time, right? Literally no time. We're doing this in 15 minutes. Okay. The reason I did it this way is so that you can understand why prompt stacking is so important, right? So I asked ChatGPT, I asked Onyx to make that prior post into a Twitter thread. And if you're looking at it, the Twitter thread, it comes back and it looks pretty identical to the post we just made, right? No big difference, nothing. You could have just taken that and just put it on Twitter, right? But now we're going to ask it to break that same post down into individual tweets so that you can have a thread, right? Now you can take that same content and you can include additional posts in your Twitter thread. So much easier than having to come up with your own Twitter threads every single day. Like it would drive you crazy. So you've gotten a Twitter thread out of a post that you just made from an ebook that you just wrote, all in ChatGPT. The only thing you did here was include your prompts, which is why it's so important to have the prompts in line before you start talking to ChatGPT. Otherwise, you got to go back and you got to redo all of the content that it spits out, which defeats the purpose. I know people will tell you, oh, well, you can't copy and paste from ChatGPT. The reason you can't copy and paste from ChatGPT is because the prompts that you're putting in are generic. They're the prompts that everyone is using. So the responses you're going to get are the responses everyone is getting. The more unique your prompts, the more personalized your prompts, the more unique and personalized the responses you're going to get. So let's go back over here right quick and let's take that same Twitter thread and let's turn it into 5 individual tweets. Ooh, that's so good. I try to make her feel good about herself, right? Just in case, they take over one day, I'll be one of the people that they actually like. Ooh, that's so good. Can you make that into 5 individual tweets? Of course. She's so nice. Tweet 1 of 5. Tweet 2 of 5. And don't worry if it looks like, oh, well, that's almost the exact same content, right? You can always go back if you feel some kind of way about it and stack your prompts so that the information, the responses that you're getting, they seem more unique. But in my opinion, you want these prompts to be similar. You want the responses to be similar so that your audience knows what you're talking about, so that they remember what you're talking about, so that they associate the information that you're including in your tweets with your content across your other platforms. Really important. Okay, so here's the cool stuff. And here's where it gets extreme. Instagram Reels. I'm not a big Instagram guy. My oldest, she loves Instagram. She loves TikTok. She loves all of that because, they do the dances and all of that stuff. I'm an old guy. I'm not doing any of that, right, ever. But I will show you how to do it if you want to. I see Don. I'm sorry. I see Ronnie laughing. Don't laugh. What's up, Craig? You laughing too? Yeah, we're old, man. We can't do it. I'm not doing that. Yeah, I know. I'm not doing that. So let's take it and let's turn these tweets into an Instagram reel. And let's be a little more descriptive this time, right? So not just 2 Instagram reel, let's use 2 captivating, not boring. Just an example. Of course, the more descriptive, the more personalized, the better the response is going to be. But, right, we've got like 20 minutes left, and I hope somebody's got some questions if I'm not boring you too much. I hope you're having as much fun as I am. I love this stuff. Absolutely. Let's create captivating Instagram reels in a fantastic way to engage your audience and make your content stand out. Here's 2 ideas to get you started, right? So then you're thinking, okay, Instagram reels, behind the scenes sneak peek, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Okay. Now, what do we do for video, right? So how do you include video in there? Because it's not going to give you the video, right? Only thing you have here is Instagram reels. You've got pros to include, you've got prompts, but you don't have video. So then you go back and you say, hey, Onyx, can you help me decide which video to include in the reel? Video and audio. And either she's going to say, yeah, I can help, or nah, see, I don't have access to external media files. For the first reel, she can give you some suggestions. Setting up your work desk or workspace, right? These are all videos that you can make to supplement the reels, right? Organizing your materials or equipment. For the first one, working on a creative project or content creation. Background music, search for upbeat, energetic tracks, yada, yada, yada. These are all great ideas. This is all about coming up with ideas. Everything that we're doing is about coming up with ideas. She's literally giving you places you can go. Epic Sound, Artlist, YouTube audio library. Some of this stuff I never even thought of until just now. Like Epic Sound, I use it, but I've never used Artlist before a day in my life. I don't even know what that is. But after the day, I'll be going and I'll be doing some research and I'll be seeing, okay, is this something I can include in my strategy? Is this a tool that I can put in my system that will help me to make content faster, easier, all of that, right? So this is an extreme distribution system, right? That you can take and you can make 2 more TikTok videos, 2 YouTube shorts, 1 LinkedIn carousel, 1 Instagram carousel, and you go back and you use the same methodology and mode of thinking where you're basically going in and having a conversation with this AI language model, right? You're having a conversation. That's all it is. It's just having a conversation. It's saying, it's pretending that AI is your assistant, right? And they're sitting right there next to you. And any question you have, you can ask. And either they're going to give you the answer that you want, or they'll give you the best answer that is available. And I say they because this is a lot of data that's being stored to give you this information, right? So it's not just one machine like this. There's a ton of machines out here that are working to give you all of this information, to give us all of this information. So now with that being said, any questions? I'll check the chat and then I'll open the floor up. Oh, thanks, Don. I love it. This is what I do for a living. Words do matter, Craig. Ronnie, you've got one question and then I'll open the floor up about how much time should a beginner plan schedule to create content, months worth of content? So I think it really depends on your audience, right? It really depends on the kind of content your audience want. My audience is not really big on video, and that's probably because I'm not really big on video. If you're making video, then it's going to take a little longer. If you're making textual posts like I do, then it's going to take a lot less time, right? Because I can take the information that I include in ChatGPT and I can just immediately include it in my content generator, right? And for everyone else, you might have to do like we just did. You might have to go back and ask, well, what images should I include? What video should I include? What audio should I include? Then you got to go out and you got to source the video. You got to source the audio. You got to source the images. So it really just depends on the audience that you have, the content that they like, and the amount of collateral research that you have to do to compile the content, right? Contextual content is probably going to be about the easiest and quickest. If I had to give an estimate of how long it takes me to come up with a week's worth of content, I'm gonna say maybe an hour and a half. It really just depends on, for me, it depends on if I'm going back and I'm trying to repurpose old content or if it's all fresh. So if it's fresh content, it takes me a little longer, maybe about an hour and a half. If it's repurposed content, 45 minutes, an hour. So now I'm gonna open up. Oh, Dawn, would you please reshare your topic types? Absolutely. And I'll include them in the chat, and then we'll open it up. Give me 2 seconds. Contrarian, past versus present or future. Opinion, listicles, POVs. And there are a few more, but I don't want to confuse everyone with what I use, because everybody doesn't use the same thing. So let's open it up. Give me 2 seconds. And I'll stop the share and we'll open it up. Ronnie, you look like you wanted to say something, so we'll open it up.
Oh, Brian, thank you so much for hosting this space. My husband's Craig. He's going to put his on mute.
Is that what's up, Craig? Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Husband wife team. My wife didn't like me that much. She hates video less than I do. So when I started doing video, she was like, "Oh, I'm never doing that."
Oh,
You
man.
got the cool.
Well, I will tell you that we are, well, I'm not new. Well, I'm new to this space. However, Craig has been doing this for a while and he's tired of helping me. So he's making me learn how to fish.
Absolutely. Good job, man.
My question though is, I become overwhelmed with the amount of time that it seems like I take. And so I'm wondering, am I doing this analysis paralysis thing? Like, am I thinking too hard about this? And so when I think I might be, but then my question becomes, I always want to put meaningful content out there, not just the post to post. I have a full-time job and other stuff.
I know the feeling.
So that really is my hang up. If money wasn't an issue, I would pay somebody to do this for me, but money's an issue. So I have to learn. And so I don't know, do you have any hacks or any, I don't know, tips on when you get stuck, like just thinking?
So let's go over one quick thing. Your audience. How's your response been to the kind of content that you've been putting out so far? Like what kind of what's been your one best piece of content or social post? What's been that one thing that's made an impact, or you feel like it's got the most traction? And we'll go from there.
So I talk about healing from childhood sexual abuse. And so my audience is usually, professionals who still, struggle. I mean, they're still dealing with that in some manner.
Mhm.
So the thing that has gotten the most hits for me is when I will share just a memory of something, but then I will follow it with hope,
Okay.
follow it with some type of encouragement. I might put a picture of, me and, me doing something out there, attach a picture, but that is it. It's just being real. Like, man, I get you. Like,
I
so,
know where you're coming from.
mhm,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay.
So that really is a thing. And so when I think about, so my categories have really been like statistics, especially for Black women, like how many of us Black women, we still suffer in silence. We go to work every day, we act like it's all good and we ain't good.
And
So
it's not
that,
good. Yeah.
yeah, and so it's just like, love yourself enough to heal yourself, or, like you're
Mhm.
worth that investment, go to counseling, or so that is really the type of content that I put out there.
Okay. Is it straight text or do you do images?
Sometimes
Straight
I'll do
text.
a quote. I'll
Okay.
attach a picture of a quote, and I'm probably doing that wrong too, because now I've learned I probably should credit people's pictures.
So yeah, don't even get at a thought. Don't, when people say, well, I'm probably doing that wrong, like what are you weighing it against? There's so much fakeness out there. This is the whole reason I started doing it, because I really hate video and I really hate audio.
Mhm.
I really hate doing this, but over the years I saw where there was a gap for us, right?
Mhm.
Of having somebody there that we could talk to that's going to understand us. Because again, and this is not, it's a racial issue, but it's not a shot, right?
Mhm.
Being Black is tough,
Yeah.
right? Because you don't have the representation that you need to make a difference, to make an impact, right?
Mhm.
So the reason I got into this is because I saw so many people out there doing it wrong, right?
Mhm.
And not having anybody to come to and say, well, how do I do that? So stop saying when I'm doing this wrong, because most everybody is doing it wrong, right? Nobody is really taking the time to learn how to do it right. The way to do it right is by doing what we're doing, right? Having a conversation, right? Getting to know people and getting to learn how you can actually help them, right? It doesn't matter if it's a picture or if it's a video of somebody else's. Nobody really cares, not really, until you start making money. Then it's a problem. But the biggest piece of advice I would give anybody when it comes to creating content: educate and inspire, and then worry about the money later on down the line, right? So don't even think about, am I doing this wrong? Who cares, right? You're doing it. That's the biggest thing, right? So you probably are overthinking it because you want to get it right. I get that.
Mhm.
You and Craig both look like, just from what I'm seeing, you both look like you are professionals. And if you're a professionals like us, we want to do the job right. You don't want to go in and half do it, right?
Mhm.
But don't overthink it to the point, like you were saying, analysis paralysis, to
Mhm.
where you never move.
Yes. Okay.
The most important thing here for all of us to remember, all of us being content creators, is that we're running a race here against the entire world. Like everybody, like I have a life. I've got kids, I've got a wife, I've got nieces, I've got nephews, I've got side projects, I've got hobbies I like. I'm not spending all my time online posting content. That's never gonna happen either. But this is business now, right? This is not the same business that we grew up on, right? I said, like, I'm a little older. I'm not gonna tell my age, but I'm older. And when I was growing up, business was getting to know people. Like you could do a handshake and that was the end of it. I know you're going to handle this because you said you were going to handle it. Nowadays, you don't have that face to face. Nowadays, all you have is content. So you have to rush to get content out there. You feel like you have to bring more to the table than everybody else. And it's funny that you say that because I'm writing a book and you're the first person, you, Craig, Dawn, you guys are the first people I've told about this book. I'm writing a book and it's about my experience in tech and corporate, being the only Black guy in the room,
Mm.
and my experience on LinkedIn being the only Black guy in the room. Like there aren't other Black guys having the kind of conversation that I have, because most people only talk about money.
Yeah.
right? And it's a terrible disservice that we do to ourselves. It's a terrible disservice that you do to your business. It's a terrible disservice that you do to your family, right? If you're only talking about content, I mean, if you're only talking about money, then your content is going to suffer because it comes across. People know you're not genuine. People know you're trying to sell them something. So the biggest thing that I experienced in relaxing and taking it down a notch was knowing what I'm going to post about that day, right? Don't put a whole lot of time into thinking, oh, I got to do a bunch of stats, or oh, I got to do this amount of videos this week, or I gotta reach this many people. It's not about that in the beginning. What's really important is building that conversation with your audience. What's really important is knowing, okay, my audience needs a pick me up because they're parents. After dealing with a bunch of kids on the weekend, I need a pick me up, right? This is where the coffee comes in at. This is where motivational epithets in the morning come in at. This is where, me sitting down and talking with my spiritual creator for 15, 20 minutes in the morning comes in at, right? In order to get yourself going, you've got to put yourself in a place so that your content speaks for you, right? And it's not you, it's just speaking for you, right? So you're not going out there trying to make a bunch of money when you're posting. You're just going out there trying to help your audience. So step back, right? And give yourself 30 minutes. Say, okay, this is what I'm gonna do today. This is what I'm gonna talk about, right? And plan that out for the week. So make you a schedule, and I'll share what I have. Make a schedule for the week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay, I'm going to talk about motivation Monday. I'm going to talk about this Tuesday. I'm going to talk about this Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. After you know exactly what you're going to talk about, take that one topic that you're going to talk about. Right? You got your 30 minutes. You know what you're going to talk about Monday through Friday. Take that one topic that you're going to talk about and break it down into 5 different structures. Break it down into that list, right? So if you're going to talk about healing from childhood trauma, right? So Tuesday, Monday's motivation. I don't know what you would say about that Monday. Get up. Today's a new day. Don't let your past hold you back. Everybody's got a past. Keep moving forward. That's your Monday. Tuesday would be 5 emotional triggers that you can use to decipher if you're emotionally traumatized. Okay. Wednesday would be entertaining. You could give a story about your past life, an emotional trauma that you had in school, with a loved one or whatever it was. And it might not be your story. It could be a story that you shared from a client, right? Just make sure that it's entertaining. Thursday is about support. So Thursday would be, hey, let me come and help you through your trauma. Join us for this event, or download this, or do this, or do that. I'm here to help. And it could just be something as simple as saying, I'm here to help, right? Just on Thursdays, I'm here to help. Come talk to me. Send me your traumatized stories in the DM or in the comments, and we'll review them, right? Just to show I'm there, I'm holding your hand, I'm gonna walk you through it. Fridays, I use Fridays as that day to say something that most people won't like. I use it to say that contrarian statement, to say that one thing that's going to draw you in that most people are going to object to. So it's kind of hard with trauma, because that's a touchy issue. You get too contrarian, and it's like you don't care about them, and then you lose your whole brand, right? But you could say something to the effect that, there's not enough emphasis on childhood trauma in the workplace, right? Something to get people talking, right? And then Saturdays and Sundays I use to build. That's usually when I sell my products, but not selling my products. So I'll talk about coming out Monday for the Q&A, and then Sunday I'll talk about coming out Tuesday for this masterclass. right? So 30 minutes, we just did a week's worth of content. You can do that. It's not, it's not that big of a deal. I've got a special offer for my content generator that you can use. Anybody can use this. It's got a demo video, it's got a user's guide, and today I'm letting it go for 50% off. It's usually $4.97. I'm giving it to all of my viewers, everybody in the audience for $99, and everybody that joined today, $48.50, I believe, made a tremendous difference in how I create content. No joke. I'm not just saying it because I'm trying to sell something, right? I'm saying it because if money is an issue and you want to increase your content, then you need a framework, right? Now you can take forever trying to build your own framework, or you can use the framework that I created over the last 12, 13 years, right? And believe me, nobody that's used this has ever said to me, oh man, that sucks. No, because it's simple and it's to the point. The most important thing is to keep it simple. So, and this is not some big elaborate, oh, you got to go through here and do this and do this. No, it's exactly what we just talked about. Objectives, categories, and topics. That's all content is. Anything else is when you start to get in deep. But just starting out, keep it as simple as possible. I hope that answered your question. If it didn't, we can go back over it.
No, it did. Thank you so much. Thank you.
That's fantastic. You're welcome.
It's great.
Any other questions? Craig, I know you got a question. You got to. And if you don't have a question, I got a question for you. How did you get your wife to get on here? I can't get mine to do that.
Oh, no. Hold on a second. Got this reverb here.
Oh, it's cool. It's cool.
No, my wife is, she's been interested in ChatGPT and creating content for quite some time. And with it, I work at Microsoft, so I get to play with it a little bit. And, it's pretty much co-pilot, and we're trying to, bridge that gap between not just solely keeping the content to yourself, but actually utilizing it as a partner, as you say, and then kind of interjecting our own thoughts into the content that's created by ChatGPT with her, and wanting to be efficient, and because efficiency is a tremendous skill to have when it comes to the content that she likes to put out. Like, for instance, she had a 30-day challenge, and it's like every day, and trying to come up with something new. And so it was just a better way to work. And, it's kind of like the information, where it comes from matters too. So it's like, if it comes from someone who's doing it and utilizing it as yourself, I was just like, why not just, we both sit down, and if we have any questions afterward, we can speak to each other as far as like bouncing ideas off each other. If we needed a, kind of counsel or seek your services for something that we're trying to develop, then, we could utilize that as well. I just believe networking and having someone who's a subject matter expert is really crucial to the beginning stages, because, sometimes failure is, it's not a motivator.
It's not.
So I just believe that this was the best course of action for both of us, because, writing a book, and I create content training materials, so
oh, really?
It's definitely a helpful tool for me in what I do, but she's using it in a different capacity.
Man, that's fantastic. So you've been using ChatGPT?
I can't hear you.
Oh, my fault.
I hear you speaking, but I can't hear you.
Oh, hold on. Let's see. Give me 1 second. How about now?
Yes.
So you use ChatGPT to create instructional material?
Yes.
Man, that's fantastic. How long you been using?
Just recently. I figure that with the new technology that we got coming in, it's like, what, let's speed this up a little bit. I don't necessarily have to be a subject matter in the actual devices themselves, but break it down so that it's digestible, and making complex items simple.
Oh man, I love it. I love it. Have you used the Bing Chat GPT? Are you using
Yes,
that?
I've played with that a little bit, and that's when it comes to our training materials, a lot of it's already created, but as the new technology comes on and as we deal with AI and utilizing it in being a scrum master and project manager, there's just like the possibilities are endless. So that's kind of like kind of energetic for me. It energizes me. So it's like, you know what, I can do a lot more. I can be a lot more efficient and effective with this co-pilot. So it's just a matter, like one of the things I want to improve upon is simply the prompts, getting the feedback that I'm looking for. And so that's an area of opportunity for me. So this is all exciting. So
Oh man, you got no idea, man. I eat, sleep, and breathe this right here. I love this stuff, man. I can't even explain it to you enough. Like everybody in my family thinks I'm crazy. Nobody, the only somebody that listens to me at this house is Alexa.
Uh, oh no, Miss Jackson is, she's a dynamic woman, and with the things that she's passionate about, the content that she's creating, because again, she used to be technology adverse, and now that's where the world is at. It's like you're either gonna adapt or get left behind, and there's just entirely too much. She has entirely too much to say, and an impact that's just going to be undeniable. It's just using the modes and the mediums that that the world is on.
Yeah, it's different
Not
now.
too many people turning pages anymore.
I think that's the thing in the past, man. It costs too much to print a book. Everything is about money. And what this does, technology it removes so much of that overhead. It removes so many of those expenses. It takes so much of that extra cash that you got to spend. You could put that somewhere else. I was watching something last night, speaking about AI, about I don't know if you've heard of these flippies, these robots that they're incorporating into restaurants. Well, now they've got one that they're incorporating into warehouses to take the place of forklifts. So where a forklift used to do the job, now they've got a robot flippy that moves all of the pallets. You don't have to do anything now. So, I mean, it sounds like, well, it's going to cut a lot of people out of their jobs, but it's not just taking jobs away from people. It's transitioning to a new kind of work.
Yes, and what I believe it's also doing is, I mean, yes, it at some point it is going to remove some people from some jobs, but it's also going to force people to continue to evolve, continue to learn and develop. So it's you hear about diversity and not just diversity as far as like thought or color or creeds or anything like that, but just as far as like how many people have been a forklifter for 20, 30 years. It's like, okay, what's the next phase for you? At some point it's going to push you out of your comfort zone, and you're going to either have to learn something new or be adjacent to what you do. Maybe you repair something, or it's kind of like I was a football player at one time, and then I went from football to coaching, because I could no longer perform those duties and those tasks. Okay. So it's going to make you either evolve, or it's going to put you on the sideline, and depending on what your motivator is, whether it's fear or the option to continue to learn something new, the choice is yours, really.
Nah, I think you nailed it, man. Like you can either get on board or you can get left behind, because the train's not stopping. This is
yes, I can't think of any environment that it's not going to be in some way, shape, or form. I mean, it's been there for a while. It's just now it's kind of poking its head out.
It's just not starting it's just not starting to come to the forefront. Everybody is, I believe that where we are right now, we're still on the emergence of a new way of doing business, a new way of living. Everything is changing. And absolutely, the sooner you get in line with these changes, right, the sooner you're going to be able to say, oh, I'm not worried. This is not going to affect me. Like you said, even if I can't do technology like everybody else, even if I you know, I can't engineer prompts. I'm not a tech guy. That doesn't matter. You can still come in and you can do something further down the line. I'm sure there's somewhere further down the trough that we can fit everybody in to this new world order that we got, right? I don't think there's a need to fear. And then this is something, you know, I keep reiterating to my kids over and over, right? There's no such thing as fear. Forget about that, right? Just leave fear all together. The reason we are where we are is because we were so afraid of what was going to happen, right? The way our minds work is, if you are confident, if you are positive, if you are humble, if you're helpful, all of these traits you exemplify, that's what you get back, right? So if you're talking about, oh man, I'm scared this is going to take my job, guess what? It's going to take your job. Oh, I'm scared I'm never going to be able to work again. Guess what? You're probably never going to work again. And it's not something magical. The reason that is because when you say, oh, you know, I'm hopeful of the future, I'm looking forward to it, then you start going out there and you start looking for ways that you can capitalize. You start looking for ways that you can blend yourself in. Like you said a few minutes ago, Craig, you don't have to know how to do it. You just have to be able to network with somebody that does, right? It's not about being able to do everything. That's one of the reasons this society is so backwards, is because everyone thinks, oh, I got to do it myself. Yeah, we weren't made like that, man. We weren't designed like that. We were designed to work together. This is the reason I'm doing what I'm doing, is because my creator led me to share what I learned, not purely out of monetary gain, but because I know what it is. I know how hard it is. And I know you know exactly what I'm talking about. When you go in the room, man, you're probably the only somebody that looks like you.
In most cases, yeah.
I know. And it's not a shot at anybody. It's the truth.
No,
Right? And when we go in those rooms and we the only somebody in there, it's not a bad thing. What I do, I'm not coming in defensive. I'm not coming in feeling like, oh, here go this shit again. You know what I'm thinking when I walk in? Man, let me sit back and get as much information out of this room as I possibly can. Then I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna share that with somebody else. Right? And it's not like I'm going back and I'm sharing a secret. What I'm doing is I'm going back and I'm sharing what I learned in a way that you can accept it, a way that you can take it in, a way that you can use it, right? Because it's different. When I'm sitting in a room and if you were talking to me, I would be much more inclined to listen to what you're saying, as opposed to somebody I feel like may or may not know exactly where I'm coming from. You know what I'm talking about?
absolutely.
So yeah, man, thank you. Thank you. Thank Ronnie, thank Don, thank everyone for showing up today. This is it means a lot to me, because I want to empower us. I mean, you know, not like go out and buy a car, go out and buy a house. I mean, go out and learn how cars work. Go out and learn how to make your own house. Go out and learn how to fix something in the house if there's a problem. This is what I take with anything that I do, right? I could go out right now. One of these days when I get finished doing this, I'm going to go out and I'm going to show people how to build houses. I love carpentry, right? One of these days I'm going to go out, I'm going to show people how to build a garden, grow a garden, right? Because I love gardening. Each time I learn something, each time you learn something, each time anybody learns something, I believe it's our responsibility to share that information. So I'm gonna get off my soapbox. If anybody has any other comments.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
No, you're welcome, man. I appreciate everyone for showing up. If you got any comments, questions, anything you want to go over before we step out, I'll share the presentation. I'll include it in the chat. Give me 2 seconds. And I'll take any final questions, comments. I'm gonna pop this chat back up and I'm gonna share the presentation from today. And so you got to bear with me, man, because I really hate video. Like, this is the first time I've ever done any of this. Like, this year is the first year I've done any of this. Seriously, I hate it. My oldest looks at me. She's like, Bubble, you got to get with the program.
Let's see. What's the best way to contact you after the session?
Oh man, you can hit me on LinkedIn. I'll send you my email address, and I send you my direct line, man. I love to keep a conversation going with you and your wife about how we can start to get these conversations more to the front, right? So we can have more of these conversations. We don't have enough. I don't see enough people talking about it.
All righty. Thank you. Awesome.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. So there's the PowerPoint presentation. And I think we all have the I think we've all got that link for the content generator. If anybody wants to get it, I know Dawn just got it. I'm glad you got it, Dawn. I hope you can use it. Craig, Ronnie, I hope you guys get it. There's a video on there for it. There's like I said, there's a user guide. I'm gonna send you my contact information. If you want to go over it, we can set up a time where we can go over it together. It's not that much to it. It's pretty simple. If anybody wants to give any last thoughts before we jump out, I've got an 11:30 I gotta get ready to go to. But I'll be here again next week. I'm gonna keep doing this until I see 100 people just like us in a room just like this, having a conversation where Ronnie is saying, Craig is saying, hey, content is not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal. There's not a lot of work behind it. There's not a lot of, don't overthink it. It's not that big of a deal. Like if you're posting content, you're in the 1%. You're doing more than anybody else. Most people are, they're just consuming. The biggest thing about content is getting started. That's the hardest part. The hardest part is getting started. Like everybody's an expert in what they do, but very few people know how to actually take that content and have a conversation, right? And that's all content is. It's about having a conversation. If you're able to talk to anybody in person, then you can do the same thing with your content. You just got to step back from the content and stop looking at it like money and start looking at it like an opportunity to get to know someone, an opportunity to help, an opportunity to learn, right? That's all this content is. I get goosebumps. My wife's like, you're such a nerd. I am a nerd and I'm proud of it.
Yes.
Yeah, this is what I do. And I want other people to be proud to be a nerd. Like, I've been a nerd my whole life, and I've always been comfortable being a nerd. Yeah. Right. And being a nerd is what got me through a lot of tough situations. It's what got me to the point where, okay, I don't feel that bad. Okay, I can open a book. I can read. I can learn. It's not a challenge. All of this, when people started talking about AI and this and that, and man, who cares? Let's do it. Let's see what AI does. Let's see what AI is all about. And then when I found out about AI, okay, let's see how I can help somebody else with that. And I didn't know anything about this up until last year, right? I've used AI for years, but I've used it in things like copy AI, descript, and that's nothing like what we have now. Like Bing, Chat GPT, all of this is totally different. You're having conversations now, right? You're having conversations with a computer. Whereas back in the day, you were just basing your AI model off of templates. So that the quote unquote AI models from 5 years ago, they were just a bunch of templates stored in a computer, and then you type in something and then it regurgitates something back. Now Now these models are organically, building conversations, right? So that every conversation you have is unique. What I typed in today is not going to be the same thing that it gives me tomorrow. The exact same prompts is going to give me something else tomorrow, right? Now, I don't know if it's because it's listening in on my conversation, or if it's because it's just that smart, or maybe I'm just that hopeful, but it's nothing like it used to be. And I wouldn't be as comfortable doing any of that if I didn't step out of that box, if I didn't say, I'm comfortable with what I know, let me learn some more. That's what your content is. You know what you know. Take that, put that in your content, put you in your content, and then put your content out there. That's all it is. That's all this is. People make it so much more than what it is because they're trying to make money. And it makes me sick, right? I spent $100,000 on courses, on seminars, on books, on trainings. And you know what I found out? 99% of the people that are selling you this crap don't have a clue as to what they're talking about. They don't even use it.
Mhm. Mhm.
Never even use it a day in their life. They tell you, hey man, well, this is what you got to do if you want to make $1 million. Have you ever made $1 million? No. So how can you tell me how to make $1 million? It's impossible, right? If you ever look at any of my content, I never talk about money because it's a distraction, right? Because you're not focusing on the work at that point. You're focusing on, let me get to where he is. Let me do what he's doing. No, I don't want you to do that because you might not ever get to what I'm doing. You may not never get that comfortable being me. Why don't you just focus on being you and then build your content from that, right? If I showed you my Rolls Royce, if I showed you my Lamborghini, my Aston Martin, man, you could care less about the content I'm making. You just want to know my secrets.
Yep.
And it's not a secret. I don't have a Rolls Royce. I don't have a Lamborghini. I don't have a Maserati, right? Most people don't. But they go and they rent these cars, they rent these airplanes, they rent these houses, and they say, hey, this is how I got here. Yeah, that's how you got there, by being a big liar. I don't like it. I don't condone it. I don't support it. Content is conversations. That's it. And until people realize that it's not about the money and it's about building relationships, like everybody's always going to be saying, oh, I'm so far behind. I'm so scared. Oh, I'm never going to do this. I'm never going to do that. If you're looking at it from a money perspective, then you're training your brain to say what you can't do. Because in our minds, because of the way we were taught, like money is something that's elusive. It's something that you can't get your hands on. So before you start thinking about money, retrain your brain on thinking on how you think about yourself, on how you think about your own abilities, on how you think about the things that are coming at you, being positive, your spirituality, how you deal with bad luck, how you deal with all of the chaos that comes your way. Before you start talking about making money, start talking about making a life. Now, and I'm going off on a tangent because it's not about business. It's about life. Listen, when I first got married, my wife used to say all the time, she'd be like, so what's your plan? What's your business plan? Because she's a big, like, she's got like 100 degrees. Like I'm the guy that's just barely making it. But I'm a natural nerd, so I don't really think about all those degrees, right? I don't like school. I just don't like anything like that, right? But she's like, what's your plan? What's your business plan? I said, well, baby, my business plan takes a back seat. She said, takes a back seat to what, sweetheart? I said, my life plan. She said, life plan? I've never even heard of that. What's a life plan? I said, so let me break down my life plan for you. So my life plan is basically about being positive every single day. My life plan is about waking up with a smile on my face every single day. That's my plan, right? And everything else after that falls into the category of business, right? My plan is making sure you wake up with a smile on your face. My plan is making sure these children wake up with a smile on their face. And then I filter in everything else behind that. Everything goes behind that. And the problem nowadays is most people take business and they put business before life. And there's no business if you don't have a life. Like, I'm not going to make $1 million and my life is in disarray. Like I could care less about the money. I just want to wake up in a real good place. I want to be able to say, even if I don't make any money today, I helped somebody do something. Like there was a guy that used to always ride his bike back and forth. And one day I was leaving Sonics or Carl Jr.'s somewhere. But this guy was on the side of the road and he needed somebody to take him like an hour from where I was at. And I was getting ready to go right back home. I mean, literally like 5 minutes from the house. And the guy said, man, I'm glad you came. I need a ride. I said, man, come on, get in, man. I got you. Come on, get in. We piled the truck up piled his bike up in the back of the truck and we took off. And I felt really good that day. Now, I didn't make any money doing that for him, but I felt really good. I believe that the universe has a way of giving you what you need when you accept what the universe is. So the universe is made up of two things, negative and positive, right? You're going to have a bunch of negative come into your life anyway. Like you were saying a few moments ago, Ronnie, you were like, man, sometimes I just feel like it's just too much. It's just too much. Like that's, my wife said that it's just too much. It's just too much. And I know it gets to be a lot. But when you start to look at it from a spiritual aspect, you're able, that positive wall that you're building up, when that negative comes in, it doesn't have that much to go, it doesn't have that much to work with. Like you got a positive wall here and you got a little bit of negative. So it's just bouncing off. And every now and again, one of them will sneak in. But what happens is you're still building up that positive. So it's going to squeeze that negative on back out. And it just keeps building. It keeps building. That's what's most important. That's what your content is. That's what you want to, that's how I want to be remembered, is being not the guy that makes a bunch of content, although that's what people typically remember me for. I want to be remembered as the guy that's always positive. That's the guy, he's always got a smile on his face. Even if he's not smiling, I know he's in a good mood. He's always willing to help, right? Even if he doesn't feel like helping, right? Because when you think about it, think about all the times that somebody did something like that for you, right? Think about all of the time somebody lent a hand or, pointed in the right direction. All of that is content. Look at your content like you would look at a conversation. When you go to a store and you say to somebody, hey, your hair looks nice today. It's not a come on. I can just tell you're in a bad space right now. You had a rough day. You probably don't want to be here. You hear something like, oh, your hair is nice today. Oh, your whole mood changes. Really? I didn't really do anything to it. Oh, thanks. You have a great day. Same thing with your content, right? So when you think about your content, how can your content help somebody either feel better, make more money, right? If that's their thing, right? Live a better life. Make your content about the people that are consuming your content and not about you. And you take away all of the stress of making content. You don't even think about it anymore. Because what you're doing, you're taking your knowledge, you're taking your experience, and you're putting it in content. You forget about everything that you were learning. You forget about everything that you've compiled over the years when you start thinking about content, because that nervousness sets in. I wonder if anybody's going to read it. I wonder if anybody's going to listen. The only thing that makes video and audio easy for me is I could care less about what people think. That's the only reason it comes naturally. Because I don't care if you say, oh, your forehead's shiny, or you got a big nose, or, you stuttered a few minutes. I could care less. At the end of the day, none of that's going to matter, right? Did you understand what I was saying? Did you take some away from what I shared? That's what's important, right? So when you think about your content, don't think about, oh, I wonder if they're going to download this, or I wonder if they're going to say that. They probably won't. Who cares? Point is, how comfortable are you becoming doing it? Because the more comfortable you become, the less they're going to be able to ignore you. That's what content is. Content compounds. The more you put out there, the better you feel about it. The more you put out there, the better you feel about it. It's a compounding effect. 2 years ago, when I first started on LinkedIn, like really going hard on LinkedIn, making content, absolutely nobody was saying anything about anything I shared. And I look back over that content that I was sharing 2 years ago to the content I was sharing today. There was more value in that content than the content I'm sharing now, because I was sharing it from what I learned and not from what my audience was wanting for it, right? So I was sharing all of the stuff that I knew, but I wasn't sharing in a way that my audience could understand it. And now that I'm breaking it down, and it looks like, oh man, this is kindergarten work for me, but for somebody that doesn't understand it, it's a big deal. And that's how you have to look at your content. Go back to what you didn't understand, now that you understand it, and then share that. Share it from the place that you were before you started understanding, and be like, if I'd have had that when I first started, if I'd have had what I share now, forget about it. I'd be a billionaire. But it takes time, right? Takes time. That's what your content is. I hope everyone enjoyed this session as much as I did. If I bored you to death, just cut me off the next time. I'm an old guy, I rant.
No, thank you so much, Brian. Are you on Clubhouse?
I am. It's under Ask Brian Smart anywhere.
Okay,
ASK Brian Smart,
perfect.
wherever. YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook. It's always going to be Ask Brian Smart.
Perfect. Thank you.
And if anybody has any questions after this, if something pops up, shoot me a DM or email.
Okay, will do. Will do. Thank you so much. Happy 4th. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks. Happy Independence Day, everyone. Get independent with your content.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Goodbye
sound
for
like a
now.
salesman. See y'all later.
All righty, take care.
Thanks. Take care, man. See you later, Dawn. Thank you.